Previously on Lost.
They come across Charlie, who's like hanging by the neck from a vine. There's like a whole 20 seconds where you think Charlie is dead. And then Charlie, lo and behold, comes awake. Charlie's like, I didn't hear anything. I don't remember anything. All they wanted was Claire. This is Lost Part 11. It's an episode primarily about Kate. It is the episode entitled Whatever the Case May Be. At the beginning of the episode, Kate is deep in the jungle and she's climbing trees to get fruit. When she gets down, she thinks she hears someone following her. Well, it turns out to be Sawyer. And he's like, what are you doing out here? And she says, well, I'm getting fruit because the trees all around the camp at the beach have all been picked clean. People have been eating so much. And he's like, okay. So they come across this waterfall. And Sawyer's like, come on, Freckles, let's get in and go swimming. And she's like, you're a pig after the way you made me kiss you? I don't think so. He's like, come on, just take off your clothes and get in. So they dive in, and they're swimming. And then Kate notices, like, way down at the bottom, there's these two dead people still sitting in the chair from the crash. Like, the chair became dislodged, and they hit the water, and, I don't know, they must have drowned or something like that, because they were still in their seatbelts. But then she sees all the way down at the bottom that there's this case underneath, and she gets Sawyer to help her get it out of the water. They get back out on dry land, and she at first told Sawyer that it was hers, but then when she was trying to open it, he realizes, oh, that case isn't really yours, is it now, Freckles? And she's like, nope. He says, well, then you won't mind if I just take it. She's like, fine, take it, see if I care. Back at the beach, Boone comes along, and Shannon's being a diva. That's supposed to be sunglasses on her. I know she looks a little weird, and she's got lipstick. And she's like, where were you? And he's like, what are you talking about? She said, you've been out in the jungle with Locke for the past 4 days and you haven't brought anything home. What are you really doing? Is he your new boyfriend? See, my theory, he and Locke are getting it on out in the jungle. Anyway, he's like, oh, well, we're looking for Claire. She's like, I thought there was no more trail. He's like, well, at least I'm doing something. You're worthless. Okay, at the beach, the tide is coming in and it keeps washing up further and further up on the shore. And, like, this is like where their camp is, right? It's not really supposed to look like a house. It's supposed to be a tent. But anyways, it keeps going closer and closer. And so they decide we might as well go ahead and move down the beach a ways where the water won't really bother us. Jack is talking to Sayid while they're moving all the stuff. And he says, you got to take me to Rousseau. I want to ask her about these others that she was talking about. And he's like, she's an insane woman. She's been here for 16 years. She doesn't know what she's talking about. He's like, well, you heard voice. He says, it was the wind, Jack. The wind was playing tricks on me. He's all, well, what about the papers and the documents that you took from her hideout? He's all, they're all in French. If I could only translate them. If I knew someone who knew French. Oh, wait a minute. What about that princess over there laying down, Shannon? So Sayid asks Shannon to help him translate the papers, and at first she's a little leery about it. She's like, did my brother put you up to this? And he's like, I assure you, your brother did not do anything to me. He's going off with Locke and doing God knows what. And she says, okay, I'll help you, but only if we can fall in love, and if I ever die, you will avenge my death. In Kate's flashback, you see that she's posing as a photographer and trying to, I guess, maybe get a loan or something, and she goes into the bank. She goes into a bank where she's talking to, I guess it's the bank manager. In walk these bank robbers, and I think there were 3 of them. And they rob the place, or they begin to rob the place. You find out that Kate's in on the heist with them. She set the whole thing up to make it look like she was going to be one of the victims. They made her get like down on the floor with all the rest of the people, and then they make the bank manager take them into the vault, and the lead guy, who Kate is like, I don't know if she's in love with or pretending to be his girlfriend or something like that, wants to shoot the bank manager. And she's like, I said no one's supposed to get hurt. So she grabs the gun from one of the guys, because it was tucked in the back of his pants, and shoots the one guy in the leg, and then picks up the gun that this guy had, and shoots this guy, And then when this guy who was guarding the door came in, she shoots this guy. And then she tells the bank manager, I need to get to lockbox 815. Where have we seen that number before? It's inside the lockbox is a little package. And it's the package that's in the case that Sawyer has. I should mention very quickly, remember the woman way back at the beginning that Jack went and sat next to and told her that, oh, if you want to say a few words about your husband, and she's like, I know my husband's not dead. Well, I forgot to mention that her name is Rose. Anyways, she's helping all the people move the stuff off the beach, and she sees Charlie being all, like, sad. And she's like, Charlie, don't be sad. You're still alive. No one blames you for what happened to Claire. No big plot points on that, but thought I'd mention it. Every chance that Kate gets, she tries to take the case away from Sawyer. And he won't let her. Then he was like, what the hell's in here that's so damn important? So he tries opening it. Can't pick the lock, and he tries, like, banging it on rocks. This is supposed to be a rock down here. Sorry, guys. And it just gets, like, dented. It's not coming open. Kate decides to tell Jack that Sawyer's got this case. It was on the plane. It was the air marshals. He checked it. I know what's in it. And if Sawyer eventually does open it, you're not going to like that. He's like, why am I not going to like that, Kate? She's like, well, because there's guns. He's like, well, what else is in there if it's this important to you? She's like, that's it. He's like, well, how the heck are we supposed to open the case? She's like, well, the air marshal kept a key in his wallet. He's like, the air marshal, but he died. I buried him. She's like, right. I need to know where. He's like, okay, we're going to go dig this man up together. So they go dig up the air marshal with his gruesomeness, and they get the key. Jack goes to Sawyer and says, I want the case. He's like, and what am I supposed to do? He's like, you're just going to give it to me. He's like, why? Remember, Sawyer's arm was hurt from where Saeed and him wrestled, and the knife went in his arm. So Jack's been giving him medication, and he's like, if you don't give me the case, I'm not going to continue giving the medication. And so Sawyer gives him the case. So Shannon's trying to help Saeed decipher the French on the papers that he stole, and she doesn't really know. She's like, okay, my French sucks, okay? He's like, please try, Shannon, you must try. It ends up being like the lyrics to some French song on some stupid... I'm assuming it's supposed to be the French version of Finding Nemo or something. So Jack and Kate decide to open the case with the key. Inside the case are a couple of guns. There's actually 4 guns. I only drew 2. A couple of boxes of ammo, some money, and then the little package that Kate's really after. And Jack gives it to Kate and says, is this what you really wanted? Well, she opens the package, and she pulls out a little toy plane. And Jack's like, what the hell? What is it, Kate? She's like, you wouldn't understand. He's all, tell me, just this once. What's the truth? She's like, it belonged to the man I love. He's like, stop lying to me. She's like, fine. I really wanted it because I'm really a kid at heart, and I want to go play with Walt. No, she didn't say that. She said, it belonged to the man I killed, and then she starts crying, and then Jack leaves her alone. The episode ends with people moving up the beach and finding their new camp spot, and basically sitting in front of fires and, preparing to rebuild their camp.